More about the situation in Nepal. We're joined in by Ambassador Pinakranjan Chakravarti. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on DD India News Hour. To begin with, when we talk of the current situation in Nepal, Prime Minister Oli has resigned, no interim government in place, and the unrest still continues. How do you gauge the gravity, the severity of the situation?
Well, it's been a very grave situation. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of violence, looting, etc. that has happened. And initially, such sort of movements, call it movement, call it whatever, may begin in a peaceful mode, but then it is hijacked by some people who make it violent. And the violence is generally deployed to ensure that the government runs scared, the police run scared. So to scare them, this technique has been deployed. We have seen it happening elsewhere in Sri Lanka and
Yes,
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Similar kind of template. Now, who instigates the violence? It's anybody's guess. It could be domestic, it could be external factors. Those who seek regime change, for example, using the domestic, dissatisfaction and anger against the government. So all this gets mixed up ultimately, and you have a situation what we are seeing in Nepal. What is worrying is that there is no, okay, you went in to remove the government. What is the alternative? I mean, is there a plan B? I mean, what happens now? Who's going to run the government, etc.? Now, the only way that can happen is that if the president, who's still there, could sit with the students and some leaders. We don't even know who the leaders are. Maybe one or two names have come up, and they can sit with them and say, look, let's calm things down, let's have an interim government, and let's put law and order back in shape. It sounds a bit self-destructive that when these mobs take over, apart from the looting, they are destroying public property.
Yes.
Property for which they have paid taxes, and it's public money. So now it doesn't help. Whichever government comes, regardless of its color or ideology, it will have to spend more money to rebuild all these things, the institutional buildings and all the destruction that has taken place of the infrastructure. And Nepal will not be the same again in terms of its politics. That we have to accept. And we'll have to prepare for another, different kind of Nepal, I mean, different polity perhaps. But who wins? I mean, out of all this, the crucial question is who gains, who wins? And that should be, something that we should focus on and assess, because that is very important for the future of Nepal.
Yes, Nepal will not be the same again, is what you tell us, but then earlier also we've seen how political rivals have come together, according to their respective political interests, when we talk of power in Nepal. Having said that, now when we see the road ahead, what really options are available in the present political system for the country to regain stability?
I think what I started off with by saying that there should be some government. I mean, somebody should be responsible, whether it is an interim, unelected government, whether the president has powers to declare an emergency and say, okay, I will run the government with some advisors. That is one possibility. And then say that, look, I'm going to have elections in 3 months. You go, everybody can prepare to fight the election, whatever the procedures are, registered parties, etc., etc. Now, what will happen in the election is that clearly the old guard of politicians who were playing a sort of musical chairs among themselves in terms of holding power and then handing it over to some other person, etc., all part of a coterie. I'm afraid there will be a demand, I think, from the students that they should not be allowed to participate in election. They may not, I mean, on their own volition, they may not do so because of the dangers of doing that is that you can again restart mob violence against them because these people will be there to participate in the election. So things are very, very fluid, and we really do not know what's going to happen. And as I said, an interim government should be put in place, and the army should help because that is an institution which is, solid in that sense, and they are non-partisan to a large extent, I would say, although they may have individuals who may be partisan. But I think they should come to the support of the president, apart from first sort of putting things in order, law and order, etc., and telling the students, look, now go back home and sort of don't loiter
Right.
on the streets, stop looting, etc.
So what does an unstable and simmering Nepal mean for the region? We've seen Prime Minister Narendra Modi talk of how peace in Nepal is crucial and how they want they want a better life for the people in Nepal. But then when we talk of what Nepal is going through at present, what does it mean for the region as a whole?
Well, any this kind of violence in any region, why our region, is destabilizing for the neighbors or whoever is around the violence, and it destabilizes. It pulls down the economy. Look what has happened in Bangladesh. What happened in Sri Lanka? Sri Lanka was defaulted on its debt. India had to step in and give them, $3 billion to stabilize the economy. Bangladesh also, the economy is,
Yes.
sliding down with some, maybe it will recover after some time, but who knows? And because it's unstable government, a lot of mob violence still going on, and all kinds of, it's revenge politics. You can call it revenge politics in both countries. That politicians who have fallen in the public esteem are being targeted, and others are the mobs and students are taking revenge on the politicians because they feel that they have let them down very badly. That is the mood, I think.
All right, so we'll end it here. Thank you so much for joining in with your inputs on DD India News Hour. That was our guest for the afternoon, Ambassador Pinak, explaining to us what the current situation is there in Nepal and what can be expected in the days ahead. Up